fun. Yeah. Okay. I'm having it when my guests are starting to speak before me. I love it. Take it. Introduce yourself.
So sorry. So sorry. Okay, so my name is Jen Hattingh, and I'm the founder of Beltza Lingerie. I'm also the founder of Mush Mush. So I'll go through it sort of from the beginning is where I can start it. And we'll start with the Beltza Lingerie story. I think I've always been interested in beautiful things. I think as most girls, we have an interest in fashion, at least from an early age. But really beautiful lingerie I've always loved it. I've always loved it. I haven't been able to afford it, but I've always loved it. So as you grow, as you become an adult and you grow older and you learn your style and you find the things you love, you also, I've found that the more I shopped, the more of a niche style I wanted, the fewer products I could find. Or the stuff that was amazing was too expensive for my budget.
I can totally resonate with this. Totally.
Yeah.
I'm sure everyone who listens will say, yeah, me too.
Exactly. So this kind of was in the back of my mind for quite a while until I should probably say that I used to live in the UK. I was there for 10 years between 2005 and 2015 when I came back to South Africa. So by living in the UK, you've got access to a lot of brands. Like it's shopping everywhere. So that taught me what's actually out there and who's who in the zoo in the lingerie world. You learn a lot. And I brought a lot of that knowledge back with me. But by the last years that I was in the UK, I decided, why am I not actually doing something more? Because if I'm so frustrated and I can't find what I want, why don't I make what I want? As you do, why don't I make it?
Why not? Of course, most people will think like that. No.
No, okay. So I was starting to chat with my sisters and friends, and they all had the same problem as me. They wanted beautiful lingerie, but what they wanted, they couldn't afford. And what was in the shops was rubbish. So I thought, okay, let me just try. I already knew how to sew. I had learned how to sew, I don't know how many years ago, many years ago. Let's just say that. So I had a basic understanding. So I thought, right, let's actually put the practice in, put the practice in and see how it goes. And I kind of taught myself how to sew lingerie because it's very different to sewing clothes. And that was it. The business was born on a very basic range. I called it the dentelle range, which is French for lace. You don't say it dentelle, you say dentelle. I know it's different. You have to say it the English way. And my company then was actually called Noir Lingerie in the beginning. So I got back to South Africa and I bought a sewing machine. My mom helped me buy an overlocker and I started sewing. And I sewed and I sewed and I eventually came up with actually what you can still see on the site today. I still sell the dentelle range, but it's amazing now. And people started becoming interested, which was quite exciting. And then it became terrifying because now suddenly it's not just me wearing this stuff. I have to wear it. I have to make it for other people. So I actually, I registered the business in 2016. So it's 5 years old now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And it's 5 years old and it was a side hustle. So it wasn't the main job. It was a side hustle because lingerie making clothes doesn't bring in money. I've learned that. It's still, yes. And it's still the side hustle. But we'll get to that. So what I focused on was finding the best fabric I could find in South Africa. I found an amazing lady in Pretoria called Renelle, and she really helped me source a lot of the straps and the clasps and stuff like that. And she still does for me. I often say to Renelle that she really saved my ass. She saves my ass often.
And I think that's the beauty, you had a style of community for you, right? Like, because like
Yes.
if I listen to what you're saying, as it is like you cannot really do things without that support, which is something that comes up in every one of the podcasting thing. But you had your mom
Yeah.
to help you, you have her to help you. How is that? Like, how amazing is that?
Yeah, I was really, really fortunate. Really fortunate to have the amazing support structure I had and still have around me. The I always thought I was on my own though. In the beginning, you feel it's daunting and you feel like, okay, this is me being all grown up. I'm going to start my own business. So I'm going to do it all by myself. And eventually, very quickly, you learn, hang on, no, I can't. I need too many things. So it's scary to lean on other people for things. But at the time, you don't really have a choice. You've kind of got to. And then you realize how nice it is to have someone like I have Renelle. I can pick up the phone and say, okay, Renelle, I need new lace. And she knows what quality I'm after. So I don't have to be in Pretoria. I can be in East London and she can go to the shop and shop for lace for me. It's that we're that close as business sort of industry peers now. It's amazing. You need those kinds of people to help you do things because you can't do everything yourself.
But I
That's
love
what
how you said it, like, like, oh, now I'm a grown up, I can start my own business. And we tend to think like, and I don't know, maybe it's a female thing as well. And I would love to hear your thought about it. Like, that, like, we kind of need to prove that we can do it and we can do it by ourselves. But bottom line, no one can really do it by ourselves. And that's what I like about like us as females, like that there's always a support and there's always like if you look at Facebook groups, for example, it's mostly like female groups that are
Yes.
dominating. Guys don't have like guys hustle whatever group or like whatsoever,
Yeah.
they don't. They have like something very generic that they join to. Um,
Yeah.
but it is like, don't you feel like that us as female, like we actually feel like we need to prove all the time?
I totally agree. Absolutely 100% agree. I think because it's changing so quickly now, but it's been changing rapidly over the last, I'm just going to say 50 years, which sounds like a long time, but it's changing really slowly. And now the pace is starting to pick up. So even if I had to say 10 years ago, I wouldn't have thought that there was such a support out there for female founders, like female entrepreneurs. Whereas now there's a lot of support. And you're totally right in that women have always felt like we've got to prove, we've got to fight, we've got to push harder than men. And I'm sure there are men out there who deserve to be where they are because they've pushed really hard and that's amazing. But I do think in general, women have it a little bit tougher because there are just there are that many more obstacles in our way. Yeah.
And you probably can say because, you already have the business for 5 years. So I'm sure there's like a comparisons that you can do how to when you started the type of support to today.
Yes. Yeah. When I first started, I did everything myself. Absolutely every single little thing I did by myself. And I had to teach myself a lot, not just how to sew perfectly, but how to identify fabric. That sounds really silly. It sounds really stupid, like a really basic thing. Yes, Jen, you make lingerie, you need to know fabric, but people don't. You don't realize just how intricate fabrics are and straps and clasps. And there's so much, you've got to learn it all. And then you've got to remember it all. And it's all changing because of technology. So you've got to know your product. You've got to know marketing. I've taught myself how to do sort of basic graphics. I'm doing the marketing. I'm doing the social media. I have to be my own brand manager. So I had to learn how to put the brand together so that it makes sense to not just me, but other people. It's all of those things. So yes, me, myself, and I, it was just the three of us, and we got along really well. And now that we are 5 years on and we've changed to Beltza Lingerie, I now have a CMT locally here in East London, and they are actually making my loungewear range. So I don't have to do all of the sewing. I still sew the lingerie, but I don't do all the sewing anymore. Yeah. And I have joined certain female entrepreneurial member groups to help me with the other stuff, like growing the business and having a strategy that's going to work. Because now that it's becoming its own entity, I don't want to start slipping up. It's that whole like, what if I succeed? What do I do then? I don't know.
But I'll tell you, you're not the only one. And I know that there's a lot of people, and including myself as well, that there's moments you're like afraid to maybe do a certain move because like, oh my God, if it's going to work, will it work? And what's going to happen? If people are going to pay that much money for my stuff, like, is it going to happen? Like, what do you do next? And sometimes it is scary because a lot of time I think we do like to stay in our own kind of comfort zone area. Place to feel safe.
We do, but also your comfort zone will kill you.
I fully agree. Like I'm always pushing myself. So I hope that everyone who watches, like listens, is doing it as well. Do you feel you pushing yourself all the time outside of your comfort zone?
Every day. And it's terrifying. Every single day. But I think in the beginning, it's always scary. You think, oh, I don't know if I'll be able to manage outside my comfort zone. So you approach it with caution. And then you get to a point where you're comfortable with pushing yourself every day. And that's where I am now. Or actually, that's where I was, say, 6 months ago. And now it's just an automatic response where you're just like, okay, we need to do these things. And there's now the fear has changed, because if I don't push myself out of my comfort zone, what's going to happen? How quickly, because if I don't push myself, I'll fail. And it's not like failure is bad, but how long is it going to take me to recover from that failure? A month, 6 months, a year? I'm not ready to deal with that yet. So I'm just going to keep pushing myself to see how far I can go.
I love it. I love how you like it's. I love the way you think about it, because it is, and we all have it, right? Like, I know that there's certain, like I was afraid the other day to send a certain proposal. I was just afraid, and then I remind myself, like, why? Like, have that courage and push yourself and do it. So it doesn't matter how many years you're in the business. I think there's always more to push ourselves to do more and not to be afraid and to put ourselves out there. And I think that's amazing you did it. So wait, so you've got 2 businesses?
Yes, I have 2 businesses. So Beltza Lingerie is the side hustle. Hopefully not for much longer, because I'd love to focus on that all the time. But the other business, Mush Mush, actually helps businesses to start e-commerce. So I build e-commerce stores either from scratch or, well, I should say from scratch, but on Shopify or WordPress. And then if a company is already on e-commerce, they already have a store, then I can help them and advise them on how to grow or how to improve or how to be better, because maybe something's not working for them, or they don't understand something, or they're new to Shopify or WordPress, and I can help train them up and answer their questions.
So that's this business, because there is like something in common between the 2 businesses, which is the shop part. But other than that, like, where is it coming from?
So when I got back from the UK, I started a job in Pretoria working for a company that they have like an automated shipping solution which integrates into Shopify stores. And at the time, 5-6 years ago, they were one of the first Shopify partners in South Africa. So they were a very key part of getting Shopify to South Africa. And they'd help merchants build their stores or offer advice and help with that troubleshooting. And I don't know how to do this, or help me with that. So it was part of my role was to help merchants to manage and maintain their Shopify stores and to integrate all the things and help them be better and learn how to grow into an e-commerce empire, so to speak. So I did that for a number of years. And then I thought, you know what? I'm tired of being in Joburg. I need to be somewhere else. So my partner and I made the call and we moved down to East London. And that is when
move.
Pardon?
That's a huge move.
It is, but it's been the best move ever, because East London is very small, but it's awesome. It's not as big and scary as Joburg. So yeah.
So
Then I found
it wasn't scary.
Oh no, yeah, but Joburg. I was born in Joburg, born and raised in Joburg. So I think I'm just bored of Joburg. It's too big, takes too long to get from one end to the other. Nah, not for me.
Understand. Like I'm moving over to Cape Town, so
yeah, well, there you go. You still have traffic.
no, I work from home.
The best.
Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, so I founded Mush Mush in 2018 and I just hit the ground running. Met some awesome people in East London, and I'm still meeting wonderful people in East London. And yeah, just helping to grow the Shopify ecosystem down here. I hosted one Shopify meetup in January last year, and then lockdown happened. So that was the end of that. But it was a short love affair. But I do actually do a weekly radio slot on Wild Coast FM, where I chat about all things e-commerce for 20 minutes.
Ah, that's interesting. So how do you find yourself, like what motivates you? What helps you to keep on and staying in this journey? Although, as you said, like, lockdown happened and then, oops, like you cannot do this and this. And like, what do you do? So what was the thing that motivated you the most and helps you not to give up?
Well, I think for both of my businesses, that answer's the same. I really enjoy helping people. Might sound a bit cliche, but if you think about Mush Mush, people always need help. We were just chatting about it. People always need help, and maybe they're not too sure how or where. So I think that's why I love helping small businesses, micro businesses, because they don't have huge budgets or huge teams or huge pots of skills to just rely on. It's probably, maybe it's your moms and pop stores, it's your solopreneurs who are doing it all by themselves. So I really love to help these people, just reassure them that it's okay. And if you just learn a little bit, or learn one thing, then it can help you learn other things. And yeah, I think that's what motivates me every day, is to know, because when I was building Noir back in the day, I felt like there was no one, because I felt like no one would understand where I'm coming from. But now I know that wasn't true. So the point for me now for Mush Mush is to make sure that other companies know that there is somebody out there who does understand your journey and isn't going to try and take all your money just because.
And I love it. And I think that's the purpose of this podcasting thing, to understand that you guys are not alone. Like, everyone here experiencing different types of difficulties. But yes, as you're saying, like, we cannot do things by ourselves, and you really need to have that support group. And it doesn't matter if it's just one person or two people, but it's a matter of like having those people that will encourage you and help you and support you and understand you, that can help you, to push yourself a bit.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't charge all the time. There's a client who I'm helping at the moment. I haven't charged him a cent. And, it's actually sometimes quite refreshing, because, you don't need to charge money all the time. I know that sometimes it'll come back to me, in other ways. And that's really great because I'm going to get to meet more people. He has also promised me a bottle or two of wine, which always goes down well.
Has your weight loss done level 4 now?
Yes, no, not right now. Obviously, it's changed since last week, but we'll get there. But
Even
it's stuff like that. Yeah. So that's why I enjoy doing it for the smaller businesses, because you meet proper business people who are doing it for the love of the business, not just for money. Yeah.
No, I'm fully with you, and that's what I believe in. That's why I always share lots of free content, because I believe
Yeah.
and I do believe that, like, it's karma in life. You give because you want to give, and you'll get back when you're supposed to get back. So it's not that you give and waiting, okay, now I need to get something back. It doesn't work like this. It will come back when it's supposed to. But that's amazing, like the fact that you've got like 2 businesses. Like, I salute you. Like, I'm barely with mine.
It's
like thinking like you had more. No. So how do you do it? How do you manage like having 2 businesses? Like,
it's tough. I'm not gonna lie, it's tough, and it's getting tougher because they're both growing. So sometimes I'm like, yay, Beltza Lingerie is growing slowly. Woo, I've got more time on my hands, which is a terrible thought. But I think you just need to be very disciplined with your time, with your schedule. And it does get irritating, and I do get tired, and I do need a holiday, but you just got to schedule it in. I was chatting to someone the other day saying, oh, I now work, when you run through your daily routine. So I said, I have a lot of energy in the morning, and then I kind of stop for half an hour at lunch, and then by 3 o'clock I'm dead. So the person who I was chatting to suggested a different approach, which we are trying. And I think that's all it is learning where you can be better in your own routine, because there is a lot to do, and you can't really, I can't really drop the ball now because I'm the only person on Mush Mush. So hopefully this year, fingers crossed, I'll get someone to assist me with certain jobs. That'll be great, or certain tasks. Yeah, like not the mundane stuff, but the easy stuff, stuff that I don't need to do anymore. But yeah, I think that's all I do anyway. My approach is to just manage my time as best I can.
So I can tell you that what helps me is like, I can fully understand, like around like 1, 2, if I'm not in meetings, I'm like, that's it. I'm tired, I'm drained. All I want to do, especially in the weather like this, just like go climb into bed and just keep myself warm.
Yeah.
But what helps me is that I've got every day my yoga class at 4:30.
Okay.
So I know that this is the time. I don't book anything to that time. And by doing the yoga, it actually gives me the energy back. So basically, I'm restarting my system. I'm resetting it. And then I'm like, okay, now I've got full back energies. And then I find myself working until super late. As well, I do have clients overseas. So I do have crazy hours, but I fully get. So it is to find something like this in their routine. But like, just like before we ending it, like, what would you like to say, like, to other females that are thinking of starting this journey of becoming entrepreneur, or maybe in that journey and want to give up? Like, what's your message for them?
That's a difficult one. So I think for people wanting to start out, by all means, go for it. Start the journey, start the dream. But from day one, find resources, and by resources I mean community, like a Facebook group or a support group or something on Instagram, I don't know, anything, to help you along from day one. Because yes, we can all do it. Yes, we all know that we're women, we're amazing, we're perfect, we can do anything we want. But if you don't have somebody to lean on even a little bit from day one, you're going to run out of steam sooner than you think. And that's not fair on yourself. So yeah.
I fully agree, and I love it, because I didn't have it when I started, and I can see the impact it made on my business and on myself
Yeah.
since I found that group.
Yeah.
So best seriously. I'm gonna say thank you so much for today. And if you have
Yes.
final words, this is your time to say. And we will put all the links to your social media websites in the description. So whoever wants to connect and ask questions or join different things or buy lingerie, spoil yourself in winter. So feel free. But any
Yeah.
final words you want to say?
No, just thank you very much for having me on the podcast. It's been really great.
Thank you for being here. So thank you, everyone,
Cool.
and we hope we inspired you a bit more. Bye.